Kerry and I first crossed paths at Exeter in the fall of 1988. This was the beginning of a shared journey of almost 30 years. We started dating in the fall of 1996, were married in 2001, and over 16 years of marriage made our home here in San Francisco, where we've raised two beautiful kids, Will and Bibi. Today, we're here to celebrate the life of this remarkable person that I am privileged to have known so well and from whom I learned so much. At the deepest level, Will, Bibi, and I, as well as Peter and Bill and Jean, and all of the Landreth and Reed families, thank you so much for being here. And I thank you so much for the support that you've shown to me, to our family, and our whole family. You've been there, and I and the kids feel your presence. You are our strength. Thank you. Today, you'll hear from friends and family and words from Kerry. You will also listen to music that she loved and some of it that she wrote. Kerry asked that this was a celebration. She did not want a funeral. She wanted people to come together, friends and family, most of whom have known each other for a long time, and others that are meeting for the first time. She wanted this to be a party, and for all of us to have fun. So after we spend some time remembering and thinking about her, I ask that you all please celebrate Kerry. She asked for this place, this food, her band Birdseed. She wanted color and nature, laughter, good food and drinks, but most of all, she wanted her people. She wanted you. She wanted us. We are bound together by her. I miss you, Kerry, and love you. Will, Bibi, and I will hold you in our hearts and look for you in the night sky.
Over this time we have together, we have, as Creighton has said, an opportunity to honor Kerry, to remember her. We also begin to reclaim Kerry, being visited by this mysterious power we call love that is able to bind us together whether we live or whether we die. Here is a prayer said for Kerry. God, we call upon you as love at work. Today we treasure and celebrate Kerry, a lover of life who sang these words. So I stop the rewind in my mind. I say thanks for all behind me, all that made life what it is today, all that's evil and all that's kind. Now in the days ahead, comfort Creighton, Will, and Bibi, comfort the Landreth and Reed families and all who make up her large family of friends. We are thankful for all the goodness and courage that have passed from Kerry into the lives of others and have left the world richer for her presence. For a life's work faithfully done, for good humor and gracious affection and deep generosity, for sadness met without surrender and weakness endured without defeat. Love at work, enfold Kerry and all who love her in your peace. Amen, amen, amen. Let it be so.
Thank you all for being here today, and a big thank you to the team of Kerry's friends who put this event together. For the past couple of years, Kerry and I have spoken often of death and life after death, hoping and sometimes believing there is something else. But today, I see that Kerry's spirit lives on in her family and her friends, especially in Bibi and Will. Kerry lived a full and rich life, sometimes a little too full. But she has taught us to cherish each day, to value our family and friends, to embrace new adventures, to work for the causes we believe in. This quote from Viktor Frankl sums it up. We cannot, after all, judge a biography by its length, by the number of pages in it. We must judge by the richness of the contents. Sometimes the unfinished are the most beautiful symphonies of all. We are all grieving her loss and mourning her too early death. We need to help each other through this sad time. The best tribute we can give her is to live our lives in honor of her, making the most of our time here, thinking of her as we travel to new and wonderful places, as well as familiar places we have enjoyed with her, reveling in the natural world that she loves so much, and showing our families and friends how important they are to us. She will understand our sadness, as she was so sad to leave. But she will want us to go on and live a full life, laugh with our friends, and love our families and friends. I will think of her every day and try to live up to her legacy. We hope you will all stay in our lives and in the lives of Creighton, Bibi, and Will.
Well, she got through it. I have to, too. It's great to see so many of Kerry's friends together here. And we feel the love in the room. There's lots of love here. I'm sure that Kerry is here, too, with her radiant smile. We miss her so much already, but we have 44 years of good memories. Here are some. Kerry came into the world with attitude. She was going to make a difference, and she did. She was never shy and started early as a hostess, serving tea to her grandmother and her great-grandmother. She quickly adjusted to riding everywhere in my backpack and on my bike. We hiked all the time in Tilden Park in Oakland. She discovered music and reading early. We danced to Sweet Caroline and we read constantly. She did rocket experiments with her grandmother and started swimming early. Her little brother came along and they started bickering but became lifelong friends too. We moved to England and explored all the museums and the sites with the kids. Kerry was devoted to Princess Diana and kept close track of her fashions. At the American school, Kerry's kindergarten teachers called her the most capable student they had. She was active in sports and made her musical debut in HMS Pinafore in her first recording, Save the Animals. She loved going to the theater and had many favorite shows, notably Hello, Dolly, where she locked eyes with Carol Channing, who gave her a wink. We traveled a lot, and Kerry loved it. She had a special affinity for France, and she flew to San Francisco by herself. She learned to ski in Europe and loved our ski trips, especially if the guides were good-looking. She started a party business and a babysitting business in London and made friends from around the world. She went to Exeter Academy for high school and flourished there. She loved the beautiful New England setting and the academic environment, which stressed group discussion. Her hand was always in the air. She played sports, kept up her music, and made many more friends. She worked one summer as a counselor at a California camp where she wowed the campers with her archery skills and acrobatics atop a horse. She graduated from Exeter with honors and became an enthusiastic ambassador for the school and later a trustee. She chose Stanford over the Ivy League and came home to the West. She loved Stanford and made the most of it with study, a variety of jobs, and a busy social life. She spent her junior year in Paris and did well at the prestigious Sciences Polytechnique. She traveled and worked at a French jeweler, and it was fun to visit her there because she regarded Paris as her city. She finished strong at Stanford, graduating with honors in history and starring in her a cappella singing group. She went on to chair Stanford reunions. Then came the Goldman years. She got a job as an analyst in Los Angeles, and Goldman was a good place for Kerry. She used her intellectual energy and her ability to relate to people to advantage. After a couple of years in LA, including a while with a boa constrictor for a roommate, she went to Hong Kong with Goldman. As usual, she traveled a lot, learning about Asia. She did not care for it much, but worked hard and finally met the right boyfriend, Creighton, a Harvard Marine stationed nearby in Okinawa. When they both came back to San Francisco, Kerry embarked on a very successful career in equities at Goldman. She was dedicated to her clients, and they knew it. As Lloyd Blankfein told me, clients liked me, but they loved Kerry. When clients or Goldman people yelled at her, she yelled right back and won their respect. She worked very hard, often getting to her office at 4 a.m. Her romance with Creighton thrived, and they were married after 9/11 in Carmel. She surprised everyone by belting out "Son of a Preacher Man" at the wedding reception. She continued to excel at work and became involved in the community in San Francisco. She became the lead recruiter for Goldman at Stanford. Will and Beebe came along, and she got involved in their schools and joined the dad band, Birdseed, as their singer. We all have special memories of Kerry. To me, those are mostly about sharing nature with her. We must have hiked thousands of miles together, including a sense of peaks in California, Whitney, Shasta, and Lassen. And we skied around Europe and the West. She loved our time at dude ranches and ski resorts, especially Sun Valley. I know that her favorite place was a beach on the Virgin Islands. Finally, Kerry was a wonderful fishing companion for me. We fished all over the West, and she was always enthusiastic, shrieking when we got fish. She truly loved the wilderness, and she took that with her to the Nature Conservancy, where she became a trustee. 7 years ago, Kerry got cancer, common in my family. She became a spokesperson at UCSF while in clinical trials. She endured, and we all hoped for a miracle, but it never came. She started a closet editing business, traveled, and was a good mother as long as she could. In the end, she was almost always tired and in pain, but she was still engaged with friends, family, and always planning trips. This is the hard part. One of her last messages was, "It's so unfair, I had so much to do." Bob Grade says I can't swear, so I better. On one of her last days, she heard me swearing while watching the Stanford USC football game. She yelled down the stairs, "Dad, some things will never change." Cool.
You did good, Dad. Thanks. Okay. Kerry would have been uncomfortable with all this attention. She was a very private person and kept her emotions to herself. I'm totally kidding. So Kerry would obviously, this is her comfort zone. It's a party of 400 people in her honor. But 2017 was a year of loss for our family, starting with the death of my dad's godmother, Marge, early in the year. And a line that struck me from Marge's funeral was that she wanted her loved ones not to mourn what they lost when she died, but to celebrate what they had when she lived. And that's exactly the spirit Kerry wanted us to embrace tonight, hence margaritas. It's easy to dwell on all the events Kerry will miss and at which she'll be greatly missed. But we got 44 years, and that's a lot of memories to celebrate. Some of those memories are big events, like our weddings and graduations, but most are small moments, little things. And as her little brother, not all of my memories are fond. Like when I was 10 and she laughed uncontrollably as I was wet and screaming after jumping through what I thought was just a pile of leaves into a freezing pool of water. Or when she convinced me that there was a secret passage leading 4 stories downstairs from her room to our living room, which I spent years looking for. Or when she dragged me across the living room when I was 6 so that my whole back was covered in rug burns. I could go on. But most of my memories are of us as close siblings. Like when she walked me to my classroom on the first day of kindergarten, doing science experiments with our grandma in Oakland, singing songs together on T-bars on childhood ski trips, having my first cocktail with her on a beach vacation. It was a White Russian. Being her shoulder to cry on when her boyfriend broke up with her in college. But some of the memories I'll cherish most are of playing music with her in our band, Birdseed, for the last few years. And the band will play this evening, is specifically requested by Kerry, but it will feel strange to play without her. Frankly, we won't be nearly as good. But we'll play because Kerry wanted us to, and because nothing would have made her happier than performing for this crowd. It's very Kerry that so much of this event was specifically scripted by her. We don't really need to speculate much about what she would have wanted because, as in life, she was very explicit about it. This is probably the last time that this particular very large group of Kerry's friends and family gets together. But I know that whenever any part of this group gathers for a party, for a dinner, for a hike, or whatever, they'll think of Kerry. And if they can make whatever event it is more like what she would have wanted, it'll probably be more fun. So thanks all for coming.